Uh, Good morning, everyone. This is State Treasurer Dale Falwell, and I forget which number. Ask Me Anything. This is
96.
This is the 96th consecutive Ask Me Anything call. Thank you for joining us. 92nd, excuse me. Well, they're relying on us for our numbers, so let's try to be accurate. Anyway, it's right there on the sheet. So we're going to focus today on our success that we've had at nccash.com, and I just want to say that it's difficult to say that one of our smallest divisions has $1 billion in it, but that's actually the accurate number. We have so many hardworking people at nccash.com and the media who has put us in a position to again break all records in returning money back to its rightful owners. Well, we set a record of sending out $115 million in unclaimed property. And we have over $1.3 billion still sitting at nccash.com. Somebody asked previously about those numbers in comparison to the other two previous treasurers. Treasurer Cowell, we're on pace to return about $700 million over the 8 years that I'm there. $610 million is already in the oven. And Treasurer Cowell, during her 8 years, sent out about $391 million out of nccash.com. And a lot of that is thanks to the legislation that we asked for that makes it more efficient for people to get their money through our NC Cash Match, as well as working with the Clerks of Courts Association regarding the need to reopen an estate when the estate was open to start with. So we're very proud of that, and the people at nccash.com, the director, Alan Martin, informed me this morning, they're in the process of working on a check for over $400,000 for the beneficiary of a life insurance policy. So these are just some of the things that we're working on today. We have the local government commission meeting. The council of state meeting was canceled today, and I'll be glad to entertain any questions that anybody might have. AP Dillon.
Good morning, Treasurer. Thank you for taking my call. Quick question. Across your almost 8 years now of returning cash to the public through this program, are there any instances that stick out to you, things that were especially satisfying to see the money go back?
Yes. There have been some seven-figure claims that we've sent out. Those are very obviously large. When you talk about millions of dollars are being returned to a business or an individual out of nccash.com. But the one that sticks out there's instances that stick out to me every day. I went to buy some auto parts recently, and everywhere I go, all day long for 8 years, I talk about nccash.com. There's not a place that I don't go where I don't talk about nccash.com. And bought some auto parts a few weeks ago and handed this person my card. The person thought looked up their name and they got $3,000 out of nccash.com, which I think made a significant difference in their life. But the one that really strikes me is an individual who had just lost her husband unexpectedly due to an accident, and somebody had left her $200,000, and I believe it's Senator Krawick from Kernersville area who helped me eventually track this person down. So within a few days or weeks of this person losing her husband, found that she was the beneficiary of $200,000 unrelated to him at all. So those are some that stick out to me. And the last one, AP, is that my numbers are correct. A PTA from a high school in a rural county in western North Carolina, where the previous treasurer many decades ago, AP, put $100 supposedly into McDonald's stock, common stock, and didn't tell anybody. And that turned into about $27,000 for that PTA off that $100 investment. So those are some that stick out to me. Follow up?
So I was reading the press release and it says there's like 1.3 billion still left in these Sheets funds over a certain amount of properties that remain unclaimed. Are you planning to get the message out about that and to do maybe a public service push?
Yeah, we don't spend tax dollars or UPD dollars to actually advertise UPD. We use mediums like yours and word of mouth and shows that I do across North Carolina. So that's why we've been able to almost double our payouts. It's just yeah. I've done over 150 check presentations, and every time we do a check presentation, especially if it's for a nonprofit, an alcohol rehab center, uh, uh, a halfway house, a homeless shelter, food banks, anytime that we do those types of check presentations, the media covers those, and that generates a lot of folks coming out and looking at nccash.com. Just me mentioning it yesterday in some speech, we've got an uptick in our website traffic today. So we continue to do everything we can. And we're also looking at tweaking on the NC Cash Match program. We're looking at tweaking. We started with $500. And AP, very quickly, NC Cash Match is where AP Dillon has lived at this address for decades. Everything matches up. We send you a letter and says, Treasurer, we have $212 of your money. If all this information is correct, we will automatically send you a check without you even filing a claim. That was something that we asked the legislature to allow us to do. We started out with doing it for claims under $500, but as we got more comfortable with the process, now we're up to claims less than $5,000. So there is a chance, it's not guaranteed, but there's a chance if everything lines up, you could get a letter from us on NC Cash Match, and it wouldn't require you to file a claim at all. Okay, next question. Who has their hand up?
Does anybody ask people to raise their hand if you have a question?
If anybody else has a question, be sure to raise your hand.
Where's on there?
Yeah. Hey, Will.
Hey, Treasurer Falwell. Good morning. I appreciate everything you're doing on the cash, but I wanted to ask a different topic, if that's okay. I was curious on the with the state health plan, the weight loss drugs, if there has been any sort of update on the negotiations with those companies there.
Yes, Will, it's interesting. Didn't know you were going to be on the call or ask this question, but I actually have my props here. I have no information to update. I want to repeat two things I've said consistently. The State Health Plan Board and myself take obesity and the disease of obesity very seriously. And you may remember 5 years ago, before anybody was discussing this, the same State Health Plan Board eliminated the cost of insulin because of what happens when people get insulin inherent in terms of putting them in a medical vortex they can't get out of. So we continue to take obesity and as a disease very seriously. Secondly, in terms of Novo Nordisk and Lilly, especially, we appreciate them being taxpayers and employers in the state. Thirdly, I have no new information. We sent a letter to the federal government regarding the shortages of the compounds of some of these drugs, and therefore that I was requesting that these drugs be expedited to be put on a list where they could go generic as quickly as possible. Will, you probably need to research this, but I think within a matter of just a few weeks, Lilly cut their price by $500 on their weight loss drug and said they're not in shortages at all. That's kind of interesting because if a drug is in shortage, then the federal government has the ability to negotiate with the drug companies to expedite them going generic. Last two things, Lester Holt show a few weeks ago, the reporter asked the head of Nova Nordist the following question. The state treasurer of North Carolina considers you to be a cartel. What do you have to say to that? And the CEOs said that that was unfounded. The report went on to talk about the fact that the people in North Carolina state health plan could pay well over $1,100 for this vial of drug. In England, it's potentially less than $100. In the home country of Denmark, less than $200. And so what I'm trying to tell you, Will, is that we have a drug tax in this country. It's a drug tax. It is a tax on the people to pay more for these drugs in this country than they're being paid for in other countries. And lastly, I was invited to a discussion, which I cannot attend, but sometime over the next couple of weeks, the CEO of Nova Nordist, without being subpoenaed, is volunteered to show up at a Senate hearing on the cost of this particular drug that Senator Bernie Sanders is chairing, and I recommend that you tune into that.
Follow up.
Lastly, Will, all the news has been made about North Carolina DHHS covering this drug. I've asked the director, I've asked the assistant director. We're going to pursue that more deeply. We want to know what they're paying for it. Every time I've asked the question, all I hear is percentages. I'm pretty good at percentages. I just want to know what you're paying for this. You tell me what you're paying for this, and I'll figure out the rest. And I say that because whether it's that question or the RFI that we put out, Will, we don't have a monopoly on all the good ideas, and we're willing to hitchhike, piggyback with DHHS if in order to get the cost of this drug down so that we can afford it. I forgot to tell you that in that interview on NBC News, when the worldwide CEO of Nova Nordist was asked whether they were a cartel or not, he made the following statement. There's some people who can acquire this drug for $25. Interesting. It doesn't mean that's what it costs. That means that's what they can acquire it for. So we're starting to investigate his own words. The only number I've ever heard that comes close to the number $25 is what it cost them to manufacture it. Next.
Anybody else raise your hand?
Any further questions? Huh? Who?
Raise your hand. What do you got?
Oh.
RAL,
If you have any more questions, just raise your hand. Or any questions. Well, appreciate you all joining us. In some respects, this is kind of a monumental night in terms of our country. And I just like to take this opportunity, as I only have a few more of the Ask Me Anything calls that I'll do, to mention three words. The first word is courage. It's ironic that the last four letters of the word courage is pronounced rage. And it's not enough just to be rageful about something. Eventually, you have to put the COUR in that, which means from the heart, and actually solve these problems. The last two letters of the word Jesus is US, us. And the last four letters of the word American are I can. And I hope that this country can come together and solve some of these major issues with the courage necessary, especially when it relates to health care and drug costs. So with that, thank you all for allocating the time to join us, and we look forward to seeing you next month. And if you have any more information or have any more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to the press. Thanks.